Hello, little explorers. Snuggle in, take a deep breath, and let's begin tonight's adventure. Our story is called Cosmic Kindness and the Star of Wonder. Deep in the inky velvet of space, where stars twinkled like scattered diamonds, lived a little astronaut named Thomas. Thomas wasn't afraid of the dark or the vast emptiness between planets. In fact, he loved it. His spaceship, the Star Hopper, was his cozy home, equipped with a button for every imaginable adventure. One starlit evening, as Thomas was getting ready for bed, tucked into his anti-gravity bunk, he heard a faint ping from the Star Hopper's control panel. He wondered, floating over. What's that? It was a distress signal. A tiny, shimmering message blinked on the screen. Help! Lost! Star of Wonder! Thomas's eyes widened. The Star of Wonder. He'd heard stories about it, a magical, glowing crystal that brought joy and light to everyone in the galaxy. Someone needs my help, he exclaimed, a thrill of adventure bubbling in his chest. He quickly donned his trusty space helmet, a vibrant blue with a friendly smile painted on the visor. Star Hopper, he announced, set a course for the distress signal. The Star Hopper hummed to life, its thrusters glowing a soft orange as it zoomed through the cosmic sea. Thomas peered out the window, watching nebulae drift by like colourful clouds of gas. Soon, he arrived at a peculiar sight, a planet made entirely of bouncing, giggling marshmallows. As Thomas landed, the marshmallow planet wobbled, sending a shower of sweet-smelling dust into the air. He stepped out, his boots sinking slightly into the soft, squishy ground. That's when he saw them, a group of tiny, fuzzy creatures, all looking very sad. They were the inhabitants of the marshmallow planet, the Mallow-folk. Oh dear, Thomas said kindly. What's wrong? A small green Mallow-folk with big, worried eyes piped up, the Star of Wonder. It was here, bringing us so much joy, but then it bounced away. We're not very good at bouncing after it. Don't worry, Thomas assured them. I'll help you find it. He looked around. There were bouncy trails leading in every direction. This was going to be trickier than he thought. We need a plan, Thomas murmured. He remembered his grandpa's advice. Even in the biggest challenges, a little bit of teamwork goes a long way. Do any of you remember which way it bounced the highest? He asked the Mallow-folk. A shy purple Mallow-folk pointed a tiny wobbly arm towards a giant rainbow-coloured slingshot made of licorice. It went that way. Really, really high. Aha! Thomas grinned. To the licorice slingshot. With the help of the Mallow-folk, who were surprisingly strong when they worked together, Thomas loaded a super bouncy marshmallow into the slingshot. Hold on tight, he called, and whoosh! He was launched high into the starry sky, bouncing even higher than the marshmallow planet itself. He soared past twinkling constellations and dodged playful shooting stars. Finally, he spotted something glimmering in the distance. It was the Star of Wonder. It had landed on a magnificent floating clock tower, its gears turning silently in space. But the Star of Wonder was stuck. It was lodged in one of the clock's giant hands. Thomas carefully navigated the Star Hopper towards the clock tower. The clock tower was ancient and wise, with a friendly, creaking voice. Welcome, little astronaut, it chimed. The Star of Wonder brings joy, but sometimes even joy needs a little help to shine its brightest. Thomas tried to gently pull the Star of Wonder free, but it was really stuck. He tugged and pulled, but it wouldn't budge. He felt a tiny pang of frustration. It's too heavy. He sighed. Suddenly, a massive, sparkling blue whale swam gracefully by the clock tower. It was the stellar whale, a legendary creature of the cosmos. Thomas remembered stories of the stellar whale's incredible strength and kindness. Excuse me, Mr. Whale, Thomas called out. Could you possibly lend a flipper? The stellar whale, with a gentle wink of its enormous eye, swam closer. It looked at the stuck Star of Wonder and then at Thomas. With a slow, powerful push of its tail, the stellar whale nudged the clock tower ever so slightly. the Star of Wonder came loose. It floated gently into Thomas's outstretched hands, glowing brighter than ever before. "Thank you, Mr. Whale." Thomas cheered. The stellar whale gave a magnificent flick of its tail, sending shimmering stardust through the air, and swam off into the cosmic depths. Thomas carefully tucked the Star of Wonder into a special reinforced pocket on his spacesuit. It pulsed with warmth, a beautiful little heart of light in his hands. "Mission accomplished, Starhopper," he whispered, climbing back into the cockpit and setting a course back to the Marshmallow Planet. He felt a huge wave of pride. He had faced a giant clock and asked a mythical whale for help. That definitely went into the adventure log. However, the space path home wasn't empty. As the Starhopper passed a ring of deep violet space dust, the ship suddenly lurched. Whoomp! What was that? Thomas checked his senses. A dark, swirling cloud of purplish-grey dust had wrapped itself around the Starhopper. This wasn't a friendly nebula. This was the dreaded Grumble-Grumble Cloud. Legend said it was a cosmic collection of forgotten grumpy feelings, and it loved to steal anything bright and happy. As the cloud pressed in, the Starhopper's lights flickered, and even worse, the Star of Wonder's glow started to fade. Thomas suddenly felt heavy. A little voice in his head whispered, "The Mallow-folk are probably fine without the star. Just go home and go to sleep. It's too hard." He shook his head hard inside his helmet. "No," I promised. "The Star of Wonder is meant to shine." He remembered how sad the little Mallow-folk looked, and the memory of their worried eyes chased away the grumpy voice. "I can't fly through it, and I can't fight it," Thomas thought, quickly scanning the ship's manual. The Grumble-Grumble Cloud couldn't be blasted. It just got angrier. He needed to defeat it with the opposite of grumpiness, pure, unfiltered joy. Thomas had an idea. When he first landed on the Marshmallow Planet, he'd used the Starhopper's audio recorder to capture the sound of the Mallow-folk's happy, gentle giggles, just to remember how bouncy they were. He quickly found the recording. "Starhopper," he commanded, his voice firm. "Put this on the external speaker system. Max volume." He pressed the play button. A cascade of tiny, joyful, sweet Mallow-folk laughter blasted out into space. The Grumble-Grumble Cloud hated it. The grumpy dust began to fizz and sputter, pulling away from the sheer happiness. The dark cloud thinned, its edges curling away from the Starhopper as if stung by kindness. With a final explosive pop of cheerful sound, the Grumble-Grumble Cloud dissolved completely, scattering into a million tiny harmless motes of sparkling happy dust. The Star of Wonder, feeling the rush of overwhelming joy, blazed back to life, shining brighter than a supernova. "Phew," Thomas sighed, wiping a bead of sweat from his brow. "Joy wins." He had learned a new lesson. Courage helps you ask for help, like with the stellar whale. But inner joy and determination help you overcome bad feelings, even the ones that try to sneak into your own head. Thomas carefully carried the Star of Wonder back to the Marshmallow Planet. The Mallow-folk gasped with delight when they saw it. As Thomas placed the Star of Wonder back among them, the whole planet began to glow with a warm, happy light. The Mallow-folk started to giggle and bounce even more joyfully than before. "Thank you, Thomas," they all cheered, showering him with tiny, sweet-smelling marshmallow hugs. They were so grateful they even gave him a small, perpetually bouncing marshmallow friend named Jumpy to take home. Thomas smiled, feeling a warmth spread through his own heart. He knew that sometimes, even when things seemed impossible, with a little courage, a lot of kindness, and the help of good friends, and a strong sense of inner happiness, anything was possible. As he climbed back into the Starhopper, waving goodbye to his new friends and the bouncing Jumpy, he felt sleepy, but incredibly happy. He had helped others, faced a challenge, and made the galaxy a little bit brighter. Back in his anti-gravity bunk, as the Starhopper gently drifted through the quiet night, Thomas snuggled under his blanket. He knew that even though he was a little astronaut, he had a big heart, and that was the most wonderful adventure of all. The soft glow of distant stars became his personal nightlight, and he drifted off to sleep, dreaming of more cosmic adventures and the joy of helping others. The end. Good night, little explorer. Sleep well. We'll go on another adventure soon. Until then.